Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to today's premium review in which we are taking a look at the Spitfire F IXc sitting at 4.3 battle rating. This plane was added as the second coupon plane and yeah, let's check her out. The maximum speed in this plane at sea level without whip is 479 kilometers an hour and with whip is 505 kilometers an hour. At 4,500 meters it is 453 kilometers an hour without whip and 475 kilometers an hour with whip. And take her up to 6,500 meters and you'll go up to 400 kilometers an hour without whip and 421 kilometers an hour with whip. Now that is not fast at all. This plane is pretty slow for 4.3 battle rating. Things like the G55 Series 1 and the Yak 3 are much faster than this plane, and that is definitely not where this plane's strengths lie. The top speed in a dive is also not fantastic. It's okay with 735 kilometers an hour before it redlines and 830 kilometers an hour before it rips apart. As we get into trouble here a little bit against this P-47 and a G55, the P-47 though is attacked by an ally of mine and we finally are gonna get a shot here after some defensive flying. The G55, there is still a danger though as it comes in. I am more maneuverable on most speeds, but the G55 is very agile and it also has very good flaps. A better flap range than this plane has as well. The flaps on the Spitfire here rip off at 280 kilometers an hour already, and that is very fast. The G55 definitely has a longer range than this plane. This G55 though is in trouble, but his roll rate is still very good and he can put up a good fight. Finally pass him, turning over. We are quicker here in the turn, and there he goes. We take him out with a nice deflection shot. Very nice. But like I said, the dive speed in the plane before it rips apart is 830 kilometers an hour. That is not the effective dive speed of this plane though. As you saw in this diving attack on the G55 and him making a corkscrew defensive maneuver, I had to roll as well, and you saw he could match me and actually be better than me in the roll rate at a certain point. That's because the control stiffening of this plane, this Spitfire, is already kicking in at 450 kilometers an hour, and that is already very noticeable, and it becomes quite severe at 550 kilometers an hour, the control stiffening in the Spitfire, and is not effective at all anymore at those speeds. So you know, you can go up to 830 before ripping apart, as we get this G55 with a nice deflection shot there. But the effective dive speed where you can actually get your guns on target is somewhere around 500 kilometers an hour, and that is not very good at all. So speed is not this plane's forte. The stall speed in this plane in vertical maneuvers is 165 kilometers an hour, which is no more than average. We've got a last plane in this match coming up. I thought he would have had to gone back to airfield, as he was nowhere to be seen and there were still a few allies of mine left, and anyone else being left on altitude would have had to be AFK, so I decided to go to the airfield with my last fuel. 6 minutes of fuel left. I could probably still make it back to the airbase with that, but my calculations were correct and he was indeed at the airfield. Stalls himself out here and we do get him for our 4th kill, which is quite nice in that first match. second place in the team with that. The firepower in this plane is good. You have 4 times 20mm Hispano Mark IIs with 120 rounds per gun. I used stealth in these matches with a 600 meter convergence. The ammo load is no more than decent, of course, with the 120 rounds per gun. It is very close to 100, and well, that you could put that to average. So 120 rounds, it's okay-ish. You can shoot 4 or 5 planes down with a little bit of trigger patience. The plane can also be equipped with one 250-pound bomb. If you want to do ground attacking with this plane, I would definitely not recommend taking that bomb, because it only limits your climb rate and your performance, and you definitely don't want to be low in this plane, although that is a good altitude for this plane. Mid to low altitude is the best performing altitude for this plane. Higher up it can still compete up to about 6,000 meters, but above that it definitely goes downhill very quickly. So the acceleration in this plane, we come to the performance, is very good in a straight line, very good in a dive. Energy retention in the horizontal is very good, and in the vertical it's decent, with an average to decent stall speed. Is in the vertical, especially when you make rolling moves, the plane does lose speed relatively quickly compared to some of the opposition. So you want to be careful there. As we go into another fight with this G55 and a P47 at the same time. The G55 for me is the more dangerous opponent at the moment, because he is much more maneuverable than the P47. P47 is coming in again, as there is also an ally in the neighborhood above there. We are lucky there though. I thought he was still fighting with that ally, but he was focusing on me. We do get a hit on the G55 there, as I hear the P47 somewhere behind me. He's staying close. There comes the Spitfire for a pass on the P47, who will have to maneuver. I should have looked a little bit more often to that P47, to be honest. I'm surprising myself here, not in a positive way, with my situational awareness. But I'm very tired due to the moving house, so maybe that has something to do with it. P47 comes into view here though, and he didn't have guns on target, not by a long shot, so I guess I got away with poor situational awareness there in a correct fashion, or in a lucky fashion as you may call it. Anyway, yeah, it's not the best plane in the vertical, but it is not bad. I managed to avoid the incoming P47's shot there, as I stay on the tail of this one, who is extending from me. The climb rate in this Spitfire is great. It's fantastic climb rate, just like all the F Mark 9s. It's very good in that department, and you definitely can get up the altitude. Though of course the Hitler bolts do have an advantage with an air start. We managed to avoid this one as well. There's another one incoming there. We're fighting 3 Hitler bolts here, which is a very great number, because they are excellent opponents. Here we go for a head-on with this P47. We do take him out. We have one on the right there going up in energy. That Yak 3 there got shot down, and the P47 gets crashed by him. That's a lucky thing, because we still had a P47 incoming here. Otherwise I would have had to deal with 2 of them, which would have been even less desirable. Come on. I don't know what I did here. This is also pure tiredness. I also warn people often not to go straight up in those kind of maneuvers, because that's often an easy shot for an opponent, and there I do it myself. Live and learn, and it's never too late to relearn lessons from the past. Bloody hell. We go into the AB match in the meantime. I still found that a very nice match. A good example of what a of what this Spitfire can do on the mid to lower altitudes. We did get a lot of opponents before we got shot down in that second match. Turn time into of this plane is excellent. Not helped by the flaps much though. It helps a little bit, but the flaps are completely useless with a rip-off time. With a rip-off speed at 280 kilometers an hour, which is nothing really. This plane reaches 280 very, very quickly due to its very good acceleration, both in a straight line and in a dive. And so you can't really use the flaps. You have extreme risk to rip them off. You can only use flaps basically safely at top end of a rope-a-dope, for example. Then it can help a bit to get your guns on target a little quicker. But in all other situations, you don't want to use flaps on this Spitfire. The roll rate in this Spitfire is average to decent depending on the speed, nothing more than that. It is nothing to write home about. Overall maneuverability I would call very good. The turn time makes up for a lot of stuff. Overheating in the plane is present and persistent, but it is manageable. It seems a little better than the Mark 5s. The 5Bs and the 5Cs definitely overheat much quicker than this plane, and it is nice because you can actually use the web to get up to altitude. You know, most Spitfires have pretty decent web on them, which do consume a lot of fuel, but it does increase the climb rate a lot and does allow you to get up to altitude. Durability in the plane is decent. It can take a hit or two, which is quite nice. The Spitfire definitely is an energy fighter that can go into turn fighting on a whim's notice. So it is not a boom and zoomer. It is definitely not advisable to use it in that fashion, as we get a few lined up bombers here in the AB match. We get the first one. The second one is going straight ahead. He seems to be AFK. And we have a Wellington shooting back at me, the first one to give real opposition. But we do get 3 bombers out of the way there in one pass. That was very nice. The Hispanos are of course a little bit touch and go. I have mentioned that already on the reviews on the 5Bs and the 5Cs, that I reviewed quite a few Spitfires lately. And those Hispano Mark IIs do spark and do give mixing results, but a good burst on target usually does the job. And 4 of them often does work, but they still give sparkles now and then, and you also get hits sometimes where you would expect a kill. But that is what it is, and you have to work with that. You have to prepare for that and make your run so that you can get shots, that you can get guns on target for at least a few seconds at a time. If we take out another B7A2. We've got an incoming G55 who seems focused on our ally there. We do get a hit in the head on, but nothing else. He didn't have the energy to come after me in the vertical, although he does make another attempt here. We can just pull the plane straight and get our wings out of the way. Thus he misses his shots, and we get an opportunity to get some lead into his fuselage, killing the plane and getting us another kill. We saw that Heinkel 111 extend there, and we went after him, getting us our 12th kill, getting back into the middle of the map. And before we could get another approach on somebody, the match ended. We got 12 kills in that match with a 2nd place in the team. This is the scoreboard of the first RB match where we got 4 kills. We had final blow in that match, 67,000 Silver Lions and 4,800 research points. I'll see you in the conclusion. Hey guys, so here we are after the match. Now this Spitfire is a nice addition to the British 3. It is a great plane to fly. Like I said, the firepower is decent. It has a bit limited ammo load with 120 rounds. but it can be quite devastating up close and with a good burst on the target. The plane is quite maneuverable and climbs very well. So you can get up to altitude and work your way down. Do be aware though that your performance isn't the best above 6,000 meters against Hitler bolts up at that altitude or P-51s. You will have trouble, but you usually will be able to get up to equal altitudes with Hitler bolts at least. And with airfield starting planes you will most likely outclimb them and get up to altitude before them. And that gives you a nice place to start from. Hopefully you have some allies that climb with you. Against the multitude of Hitler bolts, that is quite desirable, so you can attack them with a few guys on your side and not alone against 3 or 4 Hitler bolts. That is not very fun, but sometimes you manage to shoot a few down. So I quite like this plane. It gets some nice rewards, and if you haven't gotten it, then next time it becomes available I would definitely recommend it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.